R.A.P podcast.
Because we was just talking about if you're about ready to check out, would you sign into the metaverse, man? That's an ill concept. Do you guys honestly think they'll be able to upload like whatever the spark is that makes you a you? Are they gonna be able to keep that going in the near future?
It's like, but you're afraid of the soul aspect. That's what I think is like. How are you gonna transfer someone's? Now just
right.
I don't know. Like, I might sound weird, but like, I
no.
feel like you could maybe replicate. Like, they'll get to a point where they can make AI that looks just like you.
Yeah.
That can probably think like you. All of those stuff, but like. I think the missing piece is the soul. You can't
whatever the thing is that make me say like I'm me and I'm alive right now. Like, is that ever gonna cross?
Because I just watched the movie with Mahershala Ali where he played. It's called Swan Song, like where the whole point of the movie was they're uploading his consciousness to them, whatever type of artificial intelligence, because he's gonna die. But I don't want to ruin the movie. I think it's in the trailer. But he doesn't want to die, but he doesn't want his family to know that he's dead. He wants his family to not get that traumatic experience. He wants his kid to be still raised with a dad, whatever. So he decides, without telling his family, that he'll just die off, but he'll put this AI in the house. And so his family...
But like in like a toy? Like a Roomba?
No, you look at...
Like, you imagine being raised by a Roomba, bro? Like, he's like, my son, I want you to be a great man.
You drop something, don't worry, I'll get it.
You and these fucking peanuts.
But the point of the movie was like they made the artificial intelligence so like you can't distinguish this Mike Knight from this AI Mike Knight, and then your family doesn't know, so they don't have to deal with the hardship of you being gone. And you know, it's like it was like an experimental. Like, this was so in the future. He's like the second person. They're doing that too. And I don't know. I was like, would I do that? Would you do something like that? Like,
I just don't. I don't see it this crossing over into whatever that is without it being lost in translation somehow.
oh,
I think it would be
get
just...
lost. What if it doesn't get lost?
How are you ever gonna prove it? You end up facing the same consequence of just regular life, right? If somebody's like, "All right, I'm about to upload you on a computer. Hey, am I gonna be the same on the other side?" I don't know. Press play.
Press play.
Yeah, let's see what happens. You know.
Yeah. I was curious to know what happens if his son finds out later on that his real dad, because they don't do that in the movie. They just, you know. But I'm like, damn, imagine you wake up and your dad's like, by the way, I'm artificial intelligence. Like, I don't know how to deal with that. But yeah, sorry.
That would be a trip.
Yo,
are either one of you guys like super religious or spiritual or?
I would say I'm spiritual, very spiritual, and religious to a certain degree. You know.
No,
I'm not. I'm a very.
I'm in between. I'm in between.
What are you?
guys,
how would you describe what you have?
I think
It's like a disease. What do you have?
Yeah. Which one do you got?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't remember what the term is for it, but I'm like, flip a coin for the most part. You know, it's the chicken and the egg.
Yeah. Well, there's truth to certain things. Everything's connected. We're all energy. This all came from nothing, and it's going back to nothing.
Definitely sounds like somebody that did mushrooms.
Yeah.
Hey!
A lot of mushrooms.
And there's just an energy that, like, it's a thread that goes through it all, and we're just happen and to be lucky enough to have consciousness of it all, and then there should be some gratitude for it. But people create fucking religions and like forms and like, oh, you gotta do this, you gotta wear that. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? We just experienced this shit.
It gets muddy a little bit.
We just experienced this shit. You should be happy for it. If not, whatever. Try to be a good person, because then the fucking lights go off. Some people think you come back. I don't, and that's it.
So you
there
think
you
when you pass away, it just goes blank? It just boom.
You're like a drop of water, and you just go back into the fucking ocean, into the all ofness, the all of it and nothingness of it.
So the end is just like the beginning.
You might just go back into you just might like tunnel, and you come back out as a new baby, and you're crying because you're like, I gotta do this shit again.
I am curious. So I'm assuming you're Muslim background, right? In the comedy world, so to my ignorance, right? It seems like there's stringent laws and practices that go along with the Muslim faith.
Yeah.
When that translates over into comedy, or if you have like a majority Arab or Muslim audience, how does that translate over?
So for me personally, I'm a comedian who happens to be Muslim. There's Muslim comedians. I'm a comedian who happens to be Muslim. I'll make jokes. Like my last set, I had Jesus jokes. I make fun of Palestine. I don't sit there and be like, I'm gonna make Muslim jokes, or I'm not gonna sit there and write a really great joke and be like, the Muslims might be mad at me for this one. If it's funny, I'm gonna go based off that, you know. And I don't want to. and it's hard. I've been trying to find that balance or the identity within that, where it's like I don't want to come off like, oh, I'm anti-Muslim or anti-Arab, but I'm human. I want to. My comedy's about my human experience, and so I might talk about being Muslim on stage if I find something funny that I might talk about what you know. So it's, some people, like I've met Muslim comedians, and they sit there and I'm assuming they're like, these jokes are all Muslim. They only perform at MSA events, which is like Muslim. You know what I mean? And they make money. That's their pocket. And maybe that's just who they are and they embrace it. I'm not like, oh, you're not a real comedian. I'm not like that to them. You know what I mean? But that's just not me though, you know? And I'm also not the most religious dude in the room. Like I'm very, you know, I'm like learning as I go. You know what I mean? Like I know Muslims who are like, yeah, I pray 5 times a day, and they do everything correctly. And like, I wish I could be more of that. And at the moment, I'm not. At the moment,
I like a good Jesus joke, you know?
Hell yeah.
Especially when the comedian nails it.
Yeah.
All right.
Holy moly.
Oh, Jesus.
How is it doing? Because you do a lot of comedy, like out in like, because you're always in Mexico.
I'm always in Mexico, Puerto Rico.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So do you do stand up in Spanish too?
No, I've tried. It's not good.
Okay.
It just I don't have the way they like
The
to
lingo
listen.
of it.
Yeah, the lingo of it. I mean, I'm fluent, but I don't live there, so I don't have like the loquialisms and the vernacular.
Are you the same person speaking in English as you are speaking
In Spanish? Yeah, in group settings for sure. I have the same kind of like wit and like jokiness about it. But when it came to stand up, it was just maybe I was in my head. I also went up after this guy that has like 3 Netflix specials that he just walked.
I'm sorry about that.
He just walked in the room and I was like, oh shit. And it was my first time doing it in Spanish. The room was packed. I was nervous. I was like, that's not going to be good. But yeah, I do that. I do it in English down there a lot. There's a lot of expats, a lot of these little beach towns that have like overloaded with all these digital workers and retirees and shit. And so you put up flyers and you have a show and it'll be like 4 or 5 of you, but it'll be like 100 motherfuckers that show up, dude. It's crazy. It's probably the place where I've done my best 20-minute sets is in Mexico. 20, 25 minutes. Because one, it's relatable. I can talk about my experience without having to like update the whole crowd.
Right.
You know, as they're kind of used to living there. And yeah, Puerto Rico has a tiny little scene, but it's growing. But I think Mexico is like, yo, it's the shit. I want to take a bunch of comics with me. I want to do like a little tour down by the end of October so we can do Dia de los Muertos. Do a Dia de los Muertos
I'll learn
show.
Spanish. I'll go.
You don't even have to. With the places we go.
Just spell the word socks over and over again. S-O-C-K-S, baby. It sounds legit.
S-O-C-K-S.
Just change the octaves and stretch a couple of S-O-C-K-S.
Real Rap Podcast.